process that it takes me through. So when I start a novel, I flag up the dates on here, really mainly to keep myself on track. I'm quite a disciplined writer, as you'll have discovered. It generally takes me, it used to take me a year to write a novel. And then I was really hot one year and managed to write one in 6 months. So I wrote another one, so I wrote 2 in 6 months, and I thought, oh, that's good, I've bought myself a bit of breathing space now, because they're only publishing one a year, so that's good. And then my publisher came back to me and said, we're going to publish 2 this year. I thought, oh, and 2 next year. So I was then writing one every 6 months, which is what I do at the moment. It usually takes me about 6 months to write a novel. So I like to keep a record of the dates here. Also, what this does, this system here, is when I begin to write, as I said to you, I write creative writing straight onto the computer. I then keep a record of what is happening in each chapter. So, for example, this one here on my PC is chapter 1, and it's pages 1 to 13 on the PC. And it starts October the 19th, Friday, October the 19th. This is Shroud of Evil. And if you were to come and have a look at this, you'd see down this side here that I've got notes here about high tide. What time was high tide? What time was low tide? What are the heights of the tide? Now, you might think that that's irrelevant, but as the books are all set around the Solons, and I have the police marine unit, and I have Andy Horton, and I have characters going in and out of places, locks and bays on their boats, I need to know whether they can get in on that particular day at that particular time, what the tide is at that time. Now, again, you might think, does that really matter? Well, there's probably one sad person out there who's time reading novels and then posting reviews on Amazon. You've probably seen them, that say, she can't possibly have got a boat up there at that particular bay on that day at that particular time. I was once taken to task for using the word autopsy instead of post-mortem in my novels, but when I spoke to a pathologist and said, do you use the word autopsy? He said, yeah, of course we do. We use both in this country, so it doesn't matter which word you use. So I do like to get it right, and I like to get it right not because of the critic out there that's going to trip me up on it, but mainly because if it's real to me, it's real to you, the reader. So I'm thinking, how does he get a boat up there? Or why was that body washed up under Ryde Pier? Where would it have come from? And I've got a very good technical advisor who happens to be my husband. Because I'm a terrible sailor, I absolutely know nothing about it, absolutely terrified on the water, although I love it. But Bob's a very good sailor, and we have all the charts at home, and I say to him, if I want a body there, where do I need to put it in the sea? And he's going, well, the tide will drift up there. Oh, okay, right, fine. So we have all the charts out, and can I get a boat into that bay on the Isle of Wight? He said, well, you get a flat-bottomed boat out there, but it does drop in any sailors here, you'll know what he's talking about. So he gives me quite good advice on that. And being a former firefighter, he's also very good when I'm writing fire scenes. And he's been to lots of post-mortems as well, so I get quite a lot of information on that. So, he doesn't get credit in the book, though. That would be taking it too far. So, I write on the side there the times of the tide, things like sunrise and sunset. Because if I've got Andy Horton out running along Southsea Promenade in the morning on October the 19th, and I say, oh, you know, he's out running here at 7 o'clock in the morning, and it's a bright day, and the seagulls are swooping over the sea, and all that sort of stuff. So I go, hang on a minute, sunrise is 7:31 a.m. on the 19th of October. So again, it's getting the facts right. So I do keep a list of facts down the side of this as I'm writing, and I'll also keep down the side here things like where the suspects say they were at a certain time on a certain day, the time the body was found, and I'll also flag up the questions that I'm asking. On this one, I've got a Q here which stands for question. And as I flag up the questions here that I'm writing, I'll transfer them, as I showed you, onto my list of questions here to make sure that I've managed to answer them all by the end of the book. I also, as I said to you, talking about post-mortems, autopsies, and researching the forensic information, which is absolutely fascinating stuff. When I first started writing, I had no contacts in the police, so I couldn't ask somebody for inside information on the police procedure or the forensic information. But I went along to Hampshire Police and I asked them if they'd mind me spending some time with the police and going into the police station to get some background. And I have to say that Hampshire Police are superb. Not all police forces are as cooperative as Hampshire Police. I run an event every year called CSI Portsmouth in Portsmouth, where I bring together crime authors, police and forensic experts in a one-day event for the public to debate crime fiction and crime fact. And I've now, through that, met so many police officers from Hampshire Police and so many senior crime officers and forensic experts. I've got loads of them now, so it's lovely and dead easy now. I can just pick up the phone and ask them. But when I first started, of course, I didn't know anybody, and I asked if I could spend some time with the Vice Squad, which was then called the Vice Squad for Tide of Death, which is the first Andy Horton, and they said, yeah, come along. I wish I hadn't, actually. Big mistake, but I did learn a lot. Not a lot of which I want to repeat again, actually, but it was very, very useful. So getting forensic information I can get from the horse's mouth, so to speak, but I also get a lot off the internet. And again, the internet is very, very good for authors because there's a lot of information on it. So I will have lots of information. For example, I've got something here that says, fire and bodies burnt, and the profile of an arsonist. Well, Bob could tell me all about that, I know, but there's a lot of information here that I can pull off the internet, and this particular thing here says, a peculiar case of bullet, burns and boot. And that is actually about a body that was found in the burnt out boot of a car, and the guy had actually been shot, because a lot of people think that they can cover crime over by fire, but they can't, often they can't. So that's quite fascinating. So there's lots of information that I can get from the internet. You have to be careful because not everything on the internet is true, as we know. Sadly, a lot of young people think it is. If it's there, it's got to be true, but it's not. So you do have to be selective in what you use. So that's roughly how I work.